the last episode with.
Totally did it.
Done that.
Does she know that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was hoping
Didn't talk for another right?
That they really was one of the best shows on that ever on TV. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. Did you?
Yeah.
You write any other songs about any other TV shows, or was this the one that you just had to write about?
No. So we had another song from Outbreak called "Song of the Dead." It was just more about zombie outbreaks in general, but it was influenced by George Romero and all of his films. But the story of the song wasn't based around any particular movie. It was just based around someone that lost a lot of loved ones to a zombie outbreak, and then he got bit in the middle of the song, and then in the end of the song, he's like changing.
Right. I think you sent me that song through email. That other one that you sent me, though, didn't allow me to download it, so I don't know if you have time to resend it, but I do appreciate that. So,
on the internet.
Are you guys trying to figure out your next step after this album's released, or are you just going to take it up to the album at this point and see what happens?
I mean, I think that we're going in blind here. Like, regardless of what happens with this album, we already have another album's worth of material written, and we're already writing more and more and more. And we're just going to keep going, because at the end of the day, we just love music, and as much as bullshit as being in a band can be, and let me tell you, especially with lineup changes and all, it's total bullshit. Everything about it sucks. But when you get down to it, doing the writing and playing the shows, it's important, and it feels fucking fantastic doing it every time. It's the best high in the world. And we're just going to keep going on. If this thing totally tanks and we struggled once, fuck it. We're just going to keep going.
Right.
It's about.
Are there any shows lined up at this point, or you're still working on that, or are you doing them in between doing your album?
It's a little tough with the album because we're sort of spreading our attention thin. But yeah, we have one coming up in Providence at Fet Lounge. The name of the show is The Great Turkey Massacre 2.
Two. It's the second year.
The second one.
Cool. So that's the only show as of right now that you plan on.
We've had a few offers for a whole bunch of things that we were discussing, but we're holding off right now with the whole basis situation.
Yeah, with Weevildown, we don't want to sort of jump the gun on anything.
Right. No, that's understandable. That's understandable.
And we've put everything else on hold until we solve that problem, because like we said, he's a tough guy to replace, and we don't want to hop on the stage without a bass player. The music needs what Weevil did, and what whoever the new ex-bass player, the new bass player, whatever he brings right. Here I am, all cynical. I think we're just sort of trying to finish this up, make it sound really good, and find the next guy and make sure that he's up to speed or she is ready to go.
Yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck finding the bass player. I know it's hard when you got someone that's that close to you and means a lot to the band, and I don't think you're gonna have a hard time replacing that beard. That's for sure.
We're definitely not replacing that beard. Every time he windmills, there's like a specific song where I point at him and I'm like, "Look at that L'Oreal commercial."
It was.
And
his hair is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
he's a great dude. He'll be hard to replace, but we'll work it out.
Yeah, no, it'll always work out. You guys are good enough to, that people should, I would expect, be approaching you by now once you released it on Facebook. But, again, it's hard to find a bass player because that's one of the least.
If there's one thing that Dave and I are good at, it's replacing bass players. So in our old band, which I'll remain nameless just for the sake of, embarrassment, we would replace a bass player. That band existed maybe 2-3 years. We would replace a bass player every 2 months or so. And this is also with like constantly rotating guitar players and drummers, for that matter. We replaced probably no less than 20 members in the span of 3 years. Maybe 20 might be a little generous, maybe 15. But either way, there's one thing that we're not intimidated by. It's replacing a member. But the trouble is we've never replaced a member this important to us or this sort of key to our whole sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you know, we're staying optimistic. You know, like I said, the right guy's out there, and we will definitely, you know, made the right decision for himself. So you can never sort of hold a grudge like that.
How involved was he with the songwriting process?
Honestly, he wasn't that involved. I mean, and not because he wasn't inspired or anything, but I mean, me and Jeremy are like the more vocal members of the band, so we were more so like pushing in the writing process. And it's not like we were telling the other guys to do, but they more so, you know, they agreed with our vision and they went with it. And that's sort of how things worked out with Weevil. Like if he had something that worked for him and we liked it, we went with that. But if me and Jeremy had a vision writing wise, then the band would go with that.
Usually, we liked it. I mean, the way that it sort of works is that I come up with a lot of the sort of structures, ideas, melodies, and then the rest of the guys sort of flesh it out. We sort of leave everyone up to their instrument. Dave, he comes up more of like a producer role. Like he'll sort of come in here and change it up, move some riffs around, maybe change a riff. You know, I sort of take it to like a skeleton level, maybe a little more, and then I sort of leave it for the other guys to tear apart and make cool. And you know, everyone sort of played their part. And on Outbreak, you know, the first album, Weevil definitely sort of did his whole thing. And on this new album, it was more of a collaborative effort. I still think it sounds awesome. And yeah, you know, the other, like they said, the other guys, I think they definitely still have their voice in it. They just, you know, they're still, you know, doing their thing.
Right. I think that's the best approach is to, you know, let some people do the main part of the writing and then just let the other guys come in and do, you know, just put their stuff in, you know, down into it. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, it's a process. Like we fucking get into these, like we get into the worst arguments where no one says a single word.
Right.
Like,
no.
We just like what about this idea? And then everyone's just like staring into. Like, really, I'm trying to think about the idea, but, you know, a lot of times I don't like it. Sometimes I do. But, like, everyone's afraid to say anything. And, you know, if you pitch something and everyone's just kind of looking at the floor, that's just a bad idea. Maybe we should just drop it.
I would say it's not that extreme. So the gist of our writing is Jeremy will write the bare bones of the song. Mike's our drummer. He'll write the drums to it. So by the time the other members show up and write to it, I'll come in and sort of nitpick it until the structure and like the lead guitars and everything sounds right. And then if the bass works, it works. If not, we'll break it down from that point. And then when all the instruments are done, I'll write the vocals.
Do you guys do everything in pre-production, or do you do your writing as well in the studio while you're recording?
No, we do everything in a small room where we're all confronted with each other. You know, there's no guitar pro. We're not sitting in front of Pro Tools or anything.
We come up with ideas with the studio, and I'll say yes, we definitely come up with tons of ideas in the studio sometimes. I mean, it's nothing major. Like, we don't, like, write, like, a whole different part of a song. We usually have that fleshed out pretty hard by then. But we might have, like...
Yeah, like random leads or samples or like, different vocal melodies. Like, the bells and whistles we will write in the studio.
Nothing drastically changes, because we're kind of slow and shitty at, like, getting these things out. We're trying to get better. Yeah. But as of right now... long time to ponder these songs. Like, one of the songs on this album is probably 2 years old at this point. And it's an awesome song. We've really had the time to listen to it. Like, we've been playing it for forever. It's a big staple for us, and we know it's good because
what's Steno?
No, fuck Steno, Alter.
Yeah.
That song has been around forever, and so we're trying to get faster at it. So maybe in the future we'll come up with some more shit on the fly, but as of right now, it's really kind of ancillary little frills and whistles that we come up with in the studio. Maybe a lead, maybe a sort of chug here, or a different vocal quality or something.
Does it take you guys?
Actually, on this, we wrote Mike's stuff like on the spot, right? We did that once. We did it for a song. We rewrote Mike's stuff.
That's funny. Do you guys generally write your songs fairly quick, or is it something that, you know, some bands take months to write, you know, and rehash songs over and over? Some of the best songs come out quicker. I mean,
it depends on how you look at it.
I would totally agree that some of the best material comes out quick. For us, the bare bones of the song gets written like that.
Yeah.
And then as far as like the nitpicking, we'll sit there with the songs as a 5-piece and change things over and over as the months come. You know, as you know, let's say we're playing the same song for 3 months, and all of a sudden Dave stops and goes, "Oh no, we need a rest at this point," and then double up the next section. We'll try it out, and then everyone will agree that something sounds good. And then let's say we get to the studio with what we have then, and then someone's like, "Hey, what if you completely change this lead?" And then we do the A/B comparison. Sounds good. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's fast and slow and fast and slow.
When I write the bare bones of it, you know, it's a lot of just riffing around for days and like having nothing and being really pissed at yourself and thinking that you suck, and then all of a sudden, like
it's the internal conflict of all these.
It's really just writing like 3 or 4 riffs that can sound cool together, and then as soon as you have it, like, you know, you get one, and then once you get 2, you can really start building on it, and the thing comes together in like a half hour, maybe at most, and then you bring it to the guys.
How I am with vocals.
That's when they start tearing it apart, and it kind of breaks your heart, but you know, everything that they do just makes it sound so much cooler.
I feel like 80% of writing is self-loathing. Like you get mad at yourself for not doing what you want to do, and then finally when you put yourself down on the couch, you know, and just sit there and actually devote time, then that's when the masterpiece comes out.
Yeah, no, I was a musician before doing this whole radio thing. I mean, I still play here and there, but I've beat myself up more than I was proud of myself. So
it fucking sucks, right?
It does. It definitely sucks. I mean, because when you're trying so hard, even when you know you have good songs too. I mean, I was in so many good bands, and just people just didn't get it, and it was like, man, I thought this was going to be so good, and that's the worst part of it. It's like, man, I really thought this was going to take off, and then you get this band that, you know, it's all right, and everybody accepts it, and it becomes huge, and it was like, well, what the fuck did I do wrong with the last one? So it's definitely
you know what? That really rings a bell. So in 2013, we had a show with, do you know the band Blacktail Brides?
Yes, yep.
Interesting band. We never thought we'd ever play with them, but we got an offer for them, and we thought it might be a good opportunity for us. Very different music, but whatever. So we play the show. We don't think we're hot shit, and we show up there. We get on stage, and there's 1,300 kids. We've never played with a crowd this big in our entire lives.
It was incredible. They had to. I was trying to go out to my car like I do at every show and fucking eat a Subway sandwich, and I had to have security escort me out through all the people at pre-sales for the show. It was crazy.
I would just like grit my teeth at them during the set, and then just be like, ah! No. That crowd was crazy.
We sold out of all their merchandise and signed more autographs than I'm comfortable admitting. And it was crazy, and it was.
Someone hugged me and told me that I was their favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just telling you now.
That's special. That's the exclusive.
Did you get that? That's like it's like the highlight of the show.
Not that I want to throw anybody under the bus, but you know, who's some of the the more horrible bands to play with that maybe treated you like shit?
Bands that treated us like shit?
Yeah, like if you were opening for them or something.
I wouldn't say anyone necessarily treated us like shit. I mean, we definitely played with a number of bands that we just outright haven't talked to, or they haven't made an effort to see us before we played. But there's. But I don't want to duck the question, but there's no one that's outright you know,
no one's been a dick to us, but they haven't made an effort to be a dick at us just by not talking to us, which is kind of dicky, but I don't want to go name it.
Well, here's a good response without calling out a band. One of my biggest inspirations,